Hey everyone, it's your buddy back again with another exciting fanfic, which is What If Naruto Training Trip Harem Part 4. If you enjoy this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fanfics like this. Now, let's dive right into the fanfic. Naruto chuckled as well. I can relate. If the damn fox doesn't learn to keep its yap shut soon, I'm going to go into the seal myself and neuter the bastard with a dull kunai. Within the seal, Kyuubi cringed and put its claws between its legs. The damn kid was a freaking sadist, and it got worse with every tail he gained. The ancient demon didn't like it, but his vessel was now far more powerful than he was, and there wasn't jack squat he could do about it. Kyuubi had accepted his fate. He had ever since the boy became a Hanyu. But that didn't mean he had to like it. Oh no, he wasn't going out of this world without causing as much trouble for the blonde Jinchuriki as it could, without getting neutered, that is. The 1, 2 and 9 tails are safely out of Akatsuki's reach. The 5 tails is in a completely different dimension, and I know Golby wouldn't tolerate them trying anything anyways. Sanbi is a complete baka and has most likely been caught. As for the 4, 6, 7 and 8 tails, not even Kyuubi knew where those guys were. At any rate, Akatsuki's plans for using the Biju are completely ruined. Naruto mused. But what about when you become a full demon? Don't some of the people in your village have ways of suppressing demonic chakra via wood jutsu and seals? Yugito asked. There's one guy named Yamato with an affinity for wood. But in order for those jutsu to truly work to their fullest, the target has to have been a born demon. I was born human and am slowly becoming a demon. Besides, no human is powerful enough to totally subdue a Biju. They can only stall for time unless they try the dead demon soul seal Fuinjutsu, and there is only 2 people alive right now that know how to perform that jutsu, myself and Ero Sennin. Naruto answered. What about the Akatsuki leader? He's supposed to have some kind of really powerful dujutsu called the Rinnegan that gives him affinities for all the elements. Yugito countered. According to the memories I gained from Kyuubi Tem, the Rinnegan was the first dujutsu to exist. But it only grants the user control over the 5 primary elements. It's strong, sure, but it's not invincible. The same could be said about the Byakugan, Sharingan and Magankyo Sharingan. All 3 are prone to bright bursts of light, and even if the 2 Sharingan types can see through high speeds, the user has to be physically able to keep up. Itachi is fast. I'm betting Sasuke has gained some speed as well, but can they match demonic speed? And don't forget about the Magankyo's disease and the curse it holds. All gifts come at some kind of price. The Sharingan has one of the worst prices there is to pay. Naruto stated, shrugging his shoulders. That's true. To gain Magankyo you have to kill your best friend, and then the power slowly eats away at your eyes until you go blind. Yugito mused. Naruto nodded. There is a way around that. An Uchiha with a brother who has the Magankyo can kill his sibling, take the eyes and gain a Magankyo without the disease and immortality, or rather a cursed eternity. It's the reason why Orochimaru wanted Sasuke so badly. He wanted Sasuke to kill Itachi and then take Itachi's eyes to gain the immortality, while he used him as a vessel for his own twisted soul. Sad fact of the matter is, no matter how you look at it, Sasuke was and still is nothing more than a glorified pawn for both Orochimaru and Itachi. Not that it really matters anymore. The only way for the Tem to gain his Magankyo is to kill me, and he isn't strong or skilled enough to do that anymore. Itachi will eventually go blind. If I don't kill him first, and Madara, he's still a bit on the unknown side, but I'll handle him when the time comes, just like I've handled everything else in my life up until this point. By beating the shit out of it and leaving a stain on the ground, right? Yugito asked dryly. Hey, pretty much. I know that way of thinking will likely get me killed on day. But hey, it is my nature to fight. One way or another, I will always be a fighter. It's always been like that, and it probably always will be. Naruto said, still staring at the moon, a slight smile on his face. Yugito sighed. He cut such a handsome profile in the moonlight. For anyone who cared to actually look at him, they would see a young man with a heavy burden hidden behind a calm and seemingly carefree mask. She knew better though. She had been just like him. A living sacrifice, hated, abused and generally used as a weapon for her village. Had it not been for him, she would have given up on humanity. It was ironic in a way. One who had it just as bad, if not worse than she did, changed her whole perspective on life and gave her a reason to embrace her humanity despite being a Jinchuriki and now a Hanyu. He never let anyone get too close though, it saddened her. Since that time he helped her and Nibi to become one, she had gained feelings for him. But every time she tried to get things steered in a more serious direction he just let it blow over and continued to treat her like a good friend, nothing more, nothing less. From what she could see with the other girls, it was much the same with them. He was willing to be good friends with them but that seemed to be it. For the life of her she couldn't figure out why though. She knew Naruto felt emotions like love and affection, she'd seen him give it to others, even those who didn't deserve it. Yet he never seemed to take any that was offered back to him in return. Perhaps it was his self-sacrificing personality or something more. She didn't really know but hopefully one day soon she could break past that barrier. Yugito broke off from her thoughts and looked over to Naruto only to find that he had already left, completely and silently vanished from sight. Damn, I hate when he does that. She huffed. The peaceful Suna morning was shattered by 5 exceptionally loud screams coming from the hospital. Screams so loud that they literally caused the sands to vibrate. Naruto's sweat dropped as he stopped in the middle of his kata. He was in a training ground on the other side of Suna. Damn, those girls had lungs on them. Kakashi, who was perched on one of the training posts with his nose buried in his favorite orange book, lazily peeked above its pages and gave his usual lazy eye smile towards his student. Sounds like the girls found out you checked yourself out last night. Kakashi mused. Naruto just began going back through his kata while trying not to think about the monster class SS chewing he was going to get later. Kakashi wasn't so kind though. It's gonna take a lot of dates or special services to make this one up to them. The cycloptic Junin chuckled. Naruto stumbled in mid-kata and ended up kissing the blunt side of his own sword. Kakashi just let out another chuckle. I fail to find the humor in this sensei. Naruto said dryly as he nursed his now tender nose. Really? I'm finding loads of it. Kakashi answered. Naruto suddenly appeared behind Kakashi, a demented grin on his face. Kakashi's sweat dropped and gulped slightly. Karma really soused sometimes. You're not supposed to drop your guard, Kakashi-sensei, especially around enemies and irate former students. He muttered and formed the tiger seal. 1,000 years of death. The civilians of Suna could only stare and blink as the famed copy ninja, Kakashi Hatake, went flying over several buildings, screaming like a little girl while holding his own ass. Yugito snickered from her spot a few feet away from Naruto. Think ya might have overdone it a bit, sugar? She asked with a slight smirk. Used to Yugito's flirting, since it was a lot like a cross between Ino and Anko, Naruto just shrugged. Let's just call it payback for my genin test. I had nightmares for 3 weeks after he did it to me 5 years ago. Not to mention the fact it hurt like hell. Naruto grumbled. Naruto. Came the familiar scream from a short distance. Naruto let out a shudder and broke out in a cold sweat. Yugito found the whole thing amusing. She had warned the blockhead after all. The poor sap didn't seem to understand that when you have females worried about you and then you just up and disappear on them, it adds to the worry and pisses them off. Ah, crap, Naruto sighed. The girls were getting closer as their voices filtered into the training grounds, making Naruto either cringe, shudder, or an odd combination of both. Hinata was the only one who didn't seem to be voicing an opinion, and for some odd reason that scared the shit out of him. When I find that inconsiderate little. Oh, I'm going to rip his tails off. Sakura screamed. Then I'm going to shove them up his SS. The least he could have done was wait until morning to go gallivanting around Suna. Ino added. Target practice for me. Tenten stated. I'll settle for castrating him and then bronzing his jewels and putting them on my mantle. Tamari yelled. Naruto let out a slight shudder. Geez, are these girls or barbarians, and just what is so damn funny, Yugito-chan? He asked with several twitches of the brow. Yugito shrugged with a giggle. I did try to warn you. It's not my fault you're such a moron when it comes to us ladies. Her tails were swishing to and fro in an almost happy manner. Naruto sheathed his blades and glared at his friend. Well, excuse me for not being too experienced in the gentle arts, damn it. I'm a ninja, not a Casanova. True, but you're also a Hanyu, meaning you should have some instincts in that department. She said nonchalant. Naruto let out a frustrated growl. The nine-tailed prick's only instinct was to rut like a critter and heat as much as possible, so I don't think I could very well use that since I am not like that, nor will I ever be. I swear that damn fox didn't have an ounce of romance in its whole body. Yugito arched her eyebrow. And you do. Last time I checked, you still get nosebleeds if you accidentally get too much of a view of a female's cleavage, or you freeze up and start babbling like an idiot if you see a nude woman. Naruto had the decency to flush slightly at that. It's not my damn fault. And you knew I was in the next room and you still waltzed around naked like you were in your own home. How the hell was I supposed to act? It was the first time I'd ever been in that kind of situation, and Ero Sennin hadn't put me into it. He snapped back. Yugito gave him a rather feline grin. Oh, you didn't like what you saw. I could have sworn that you did. Well, that is. Naruto fumbled. Behind you, lover boy. Yugito smirked. Naruto slowly turned his head and saw 5 rather irate-looking kunoichi behind him. Yugito just giggled at the situation and decided to enjoy the show, if only she had some Pocky. Naruto's nice tanned complexion turned a sickly pale in a matter of seconds. 5 sets of the evil eye, one enhanced by the Byakugan, was enough to make even someone as demented as Orochimaru soil himself. Naruto settled for abject panic. Was Tenten playing with a kunai? Hey ladies, nice weather we're having, huh? He asked lamely. Crap, they look pissed off. Did they hear Yugito? If they did. Ino stepped up, a disturbingly sweet smile of her face a sure sign to Naruto that he was screwed. So, Naruto-kun, you skipped out of the hospital to spend time with your girlfriend, did you? When were you going to tell us about cat girl over there, hum? You seem to know each other much better than we thought, considering you've seen her naked. Ino asked in a sickly sweet tone while Sakura cracked her knuckles. Kid, unless you wanna be neutered, you better run. Kyuubi added with a slight snicker in his tones. Running seemed like an excellent idea, but since Ino had grabbed one of his tails and had it in a very tight grip, the brilliant idea was wasted. It didn't help that the demented fox was snickering in his head, or that Yugito looked utterly amused with the whole situation. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on Naruto either. He had no problem or fear in facing down hordes of enemies, demons or monsters, but put 5 pissed off and seemingly hurt females in front of him and he was scared shitless. The fact that Hinata had lost the angry look and was now staring at him with big hurt and tear-filled eyes literally sapped all the fight out of him and made him feel lower than crap on a boot. However, this wasn't the same Naruto that was once a knucklehead. He may have kept his unpredictable nature, but he was no longer an idiot or easily freaked out. As such, the old insecurities he used to show and fear of irate females passed as quickly as it came. Yugito noticed the sudden shift in his personality and was rather shocked. She hadn't expected this to happen. Naruto was usually so fun and easy to tease. Naruto's color returned to normal and his eyes narrowed as he shot a hard glare at Ino, who for her part gulped and suddenly remembered that this wasn't the same kid she used to know and that she was holding the tail of a rather powerful Hanyu. Kindly let go of my tail, would you? Naruto said in a sharp voice. He didn't ask, he demanded it be done. Yeah, sorry about that. Ino gulped and let go. What's up with him all of a sudden? Oh crap. I forgot. Yugito sighed. I should have remembered. He hates being dominated by females and the demonic blood in him will not allow it to happen anymore since he's kinda an alpha. I should have remembered this would happen. You can only tease him just so much these days. Now, I left the hospital because I no longer needed to be there. It was my choice and my right to do so. I appreciate that you were all worried about me, but don't get your panties in a twist every time I don't do something you like. Naruto started, his tone not cold but not warm either. I hate being controlled and no one will control me, not anymore. If you got a problem with me, fine, take it up with me, but don't blow shit clear out of proportion and don't treat me like I am still the same blockhead genin that could be walked all over because he was starved for attention. That person died several years ago and you'd all do good to remember that. The 5 girls suddenly got rather sheepish and meek as Naruto put them in their place. It didn't help that his power aura had come out full tilt and further enforced his intent in words. Naruto then turned on Yugito and the Nekomanta cringed slightly at the glare she was getting. As for you, he said sternly, what happened back with the old pervert was an accident. I certainly didn't expect you to be running around naked, and you shouldn't have been with Ero Sennin running around. If you wanted my attention, there are better ways of getting it, and don't even try the mating season excuse. Demons don't have seasons, we do what we damn well please. Yeah. Sorry about that. Heh, heh, heh. Yugito giggled nervously. Good, now I'm going to go get some lunch, I'll see you ladies later. He said, took 3 steps and vanished in a swirl of fire. Well, that could have gone better. Yugito sighed. Tamari blinked. I think we made him mad. Way to state the obvious, Blondie. Tenten added dryly. Now, let's not fight. Yugito said. It's partially my fault. I should have remembered about certain traits he gained when he became a Hanyu. Male demons, especially ones as powerful as Naruto, have a great dislike of being dominated. In a sense, you could say Naruto is an alpha male. You can tease him, but only just so much before it either grates on his nerves or you step over the line. In other words, if any of us want to have a chance with him, we're not only going to have to learn to control our tempers but stop trying to control him like we used to when he was younger. Sakura pointed out. Bingo. Yugito chimed. Tamari giggled a bit. I don't really mind him being dominant, it's kinda sexy if you ask me. Ino, Tenten and Sakura face faulted while Hinata and Yugito flushed with less than pure thoughts running through their minds. The other 3 girls quickly regained their composure and did their best to block the improper thoughts that were now running rampant through their minds. Ino glanced at Yugito and sighed. I assume that you are also interested in Naruto-kun? She asked plainly. Yugito nodded. Yes, but I don't think he is interested in me. It's hard to tell with him, he keeps things like that bottled up, locked up and hidden away. From the amount of admirers he has, I'd assume that the old pervert was right about his clan practicing polygamy. Sakura nodded. Yeah, it's mainly because his clan is on the verge of extinction and the Namikaze was a well-known and powerful clan in Fire Country. You are right though. Naruto is nice and all to us, but he doesn't really seem to show any romantic interest in us. Then again, the only one of us that was actually nice to him growing up is Hinata here. Tenten mused. Naruto-kun is just trying to sort things out, he needs to do that first. Hinata said quietly. I think it goes a bit deeper than that. Kakashi said as he walked up to the group. A part of his dislikes the fact that he's not human anymore. Though he did become a Hanyu by choice, he did it because he thought it would be for the best. Kakashi sighed. Naruto's been alone his entire life and hated by most for just as long. Every time he tried to make friends as a child, it blew up in his face, or the people that he tried to befriend would betray him. I don't need to tell you ladies, especially Yugito and Tamari, about how hard the life of a Jinchuriki can be or the abuses that come along with it. You ladies just need to give him some time. He's not used to people, women especially, wanting his affection or giving him affection. He'll come around eventually, but not until he feels that he can trust you ladies. Kakashi said and then walked off with his nose buried back in his favorite book, pleased about his good deed for the day. Sakura frowned. I hope it doesn't take too long. With how dangerous our lives are, we never know exactly how much time we will have before we're dead. That statement, true as it was, caused the other girls to frown in thought. It was very true. The life of a ninja was one that meant that they could die at any time if they weren't careful, even then caution isn't always enough. Gaara Sabaku, 5th cage of Suna and newly appointed Ikibi Hanyu wandered down the streets of Suna as dusk settled in. The young man marveled at how much better he felt now that the irritating Tanuki had been forever silenced. In a way he supposed he should thank the Akatsuki, but he'd rather beat them to bloody pulps for trying to kill him with their damn demon extraction. Still, he was alive and now he had all of Shukaku's powers as his own. Though the Tanuki tail, ears and raccoon-like features he could have done without, especially when Mitsuri had exclaimed about how cute they made him. He'd probably never understand that girl, but he supposed it was part of the reason he'd grown to care for her. His keen eyes spotted a familiar now 7-tailed blonde perched up on one of their many water towers. Focusing his chakra and willing his sand to obey, he was hoisted up to his friend on a pillar of sand. Yo, Gaara, it's been a while. How ya feeling, buddy? Naruto asked, not looking behind him but sensing the presence of the new Hanyu. I am well, Uzumaki-san. Much more so now that, That irritating Shukaku has been silenced. Gaara answered in his trademark monotone. Naruto chuckled. I feel you. I still got an annoying kitsune pissing and moaning all the time. The trick is to either tune it out or threaten to go into the seal and rip its nuts off, the latter seems to work the best. Gaara blinked for a second and then barked out a laugh surprising Naruto. Gaara couldn't help it. Only Naruto Uzumaki had the stones to actually threaten a demon lord, even if said demon wasn't as strong as it used to be. Only you, my friend, would ever dare be brave enough to threaten a demon and actually be able to get away with it. Gaara chuckled. Naruto smirked. Oh, I think you could get away with it now yourself. That's the dangerous things about our kind, the Hanyu. All the chakra you had gained throughout your life combined with Shukaku's has easily made you twice as strong as that insane motor mouth ever was. If we had to go by tails in strength, you'd easily be about 2.5. Gaara nodded and went silent for a moment. Might I ask what your intentions towards my sister are? She seems quite taken with you. I trust you, but I do not wish to see her hurt, or I will hurt you. Naruto was unaffected by the polite but lingering threat as he shrugged. I really don't now, Gaara. I've spent my entire life being hated and feared for being a monster that I wasn't. Now I really am one and I'm suddenly attracting girls left and right, ironic in a way. Truth of the matter is I don't really know what to do about them, your sister included. I don't want to hurt anyone. I'd rather lop off a tail than do that. But I have some issues I need to work out. Surely you would understand since your childhood was as bad as my own. Naruto sighed. I want to trust them, let them in and let them know that I do care for them as more than friends. But the only ones I actually feel like I could even slightly trust right now are your sister, Tenten and Hinata. Maybe Yugito too, but I had many problems with Sakura and Ino in the past. I can tell that they have indeed grown up, but until I can get past my own issues and they can regain my full trust, then I can't in good conscience do anything with any of them. Naruto explained. I can understand your feelings on that matter. It took a long time for Mitsuri to gain my own trust, but she did and it was worth it. A piece of advice, my friend. Do not wait too long. They do not have the advantage of our extended lifespans and will eventually have to move on. Or, they could be killed in battle. Don't wait too long to follow your heart or you may regret it. I believe it was you who taught me that lesson 4 years ago. Perhaps it is now time for you to take your own advice. Gaara said and summoned his sand once more. I will see you again soon. I have much paperwork to do now, until then. Gaara vanished in a swirl of sand. My own advice, huh? Naruto said ruefully to himself as he glanced back out to the last visages of the sun setting in the distance. If only it were so easy. Still, I can't string them along, it would be dishonorable. I just don't know if this is right though. It's too dangerous to be thinking about relationships right now with the Akatsuki and Sasuke running around. Then again, I really don't know how I feel about them. Each is special in her own way and I do care for each of them, more than I care to admit at the moment. Maybe I should take a chance. I need to think about this some more, maybe some sleep will help me think better. Naruto thought and bounded off towards the Sabaku compound since that is where everyone was staying. Stirring of the sacred element. The next day came early for most of the residents of Suna, even Gaara, who begrudgingly got up from the first peaceful sleep he'd had since he could remember. Said Cage was rather surprised when he saw a small carrier falcon with a scroll in its talons with the leaf symbol on it. Shrugging, he grabbed the scrolls and the bird took flight back to its home. Unrolling the parchment, he discovered it was a letter from Tsunade. Cage Dono. I hope this message finds you in good health. Kakashi has sent a message and we are now aware of your new circumstances. Congratulations on your appointment as the new one-tailed lord. I am sure you will do much better than the previous one that had been sealed within you. Now, on to other matters. I need your help. As you may have already noticed, Naruto has gained several female admirers, including your sister. However, he has closed himself off to certain emotions, mostly due to old insecurities, which I am sure you could relate to due to your similar childhoods. The problem is this: I have many members of the council breathing down my neck because they want to ensure that Naruto's Kekkei Genkai, which gives him an unparalleled mastery of all elements, will get passed on to the next generation and that the Namikaze clan will continue. They are even trying to set up arranged marriages, and we both know how that would turn out. I don't want my son to be put in a forced situation like this, even if it is for the good of the village. I may be Hokage, but he is the closest thing to a son I've ever had, and I will do all in my power to ensure his future happiness. I know he cares for your sister and the other girls, but he doesn't have much of a chance to really relax and bond with them here due to some of the more ignorant residents. As it is, I am unsure as to what to do to help him. The council will likely try something to keep him off of active duty until an heir is sired or something along those lines. You can see, I'm sure, where the problems with this could start mounting. Try talking to him if you can find the time. Also have Naruto's team ready to return as soon as possible so a proper report can be given. Thank you for the help and best of luck. Tsunade, 5th Hokage, Konoha. HNN. I talked to him once already, I'm afraid it's all in his hands now. Gaara monotoned. My friend, it is up to you now. Will you do as you always have in the past and overcome yet another obstacle, or will you finally let your inner demons win? Kankuro nodded from behind him. Guess we'll just have to hope for the best. Temari will be leaving with the others to go back to Konoha for her ambassador duties there. We should probably leave things up to her, she generally gets what she wants. He smirked. He almost felt sorry for Naruto, almost. Gaara eyed his brother lazily. He knew why Kankuro was happy about this. If Temari ended up married to Naruto, thus becoming a member of Leaf, it would solidify their peace treaties even better, but it would also keep Temari out of his hair, and less lumps on his noggin to boot. Kakashi watched in mild concern as his former student went through his various kata. Naruto was once again training. A frown was on Kakashi's face as he observed the young Hanyu. His movements were fluid and precise but mechanical. His eyes held no glimmer within them as he continued to train, never stopping except to eat, use the restroom or help with some repairs in the village. It was obvious the young man had something on his mind, but it didn't make sense as to why he was training himself into the ground. Kakashi idly wondered if Naruto had even slept since he woke the other day. AHCOOO. Naruto sneezed, throwing off his kata. Damn, I'm beginning to think someone is talking about me. That's the 4th time in the past 10 minutes. He was once again dressed in his usual garb. Sealing scrolls, in his opinion, were one of the best shinobi tools out there since it allowed him to carry damn near anything he needed. It wasn't that he didn't like the Suna-made gear that the others got for him, he was just more comfortable in his own things. And he hated wearing shirts unless he had to. Cloaks and trench coats were okay, but the only thing he used to cover himself other than those were his black wrappings and his scarf, since it could hide his lower face. Right now though, his trench and scarf were sealed, leaving him in just a pair of baggy black pants with crimson flames coming up the legs. He opted to leave his boots off since moving in sand was easier barefooted. Hey, you have no idea, Naruto, I'm sure the girls are. Kakashi thought, amused. This was the chance he'd been looking for. Yo, Naruto, I got a message from Hokage-sama. He said, walking towards the Chunin Hanyu. Naruto dropped his stance and stood up straight as he wiped a bit of sweat from his brow. Really? What's mom sent for us now? He asked curiously. Kakashi gave him one of his lazy eye smiles and handed him his copy of the order for rest. Naruto took it and skimmed over it, a slight frown crossed his feral features. Looks like we need to get back to Konoha soon then, good thing I'm fast transport. Naruto mumbled. Hey, guess now I know why Gamabunta hates being used as a taxi. Still, we should probably leave in the morning. Kakashi nodded. We've still got to make our report, especially since the Akatsuki is now down 2 members. Besides, it's safer in Konoha. Naruto gave him a slight deadpan glare. Well, for most people. Kakashi sighed and looked at his former student. When was the last time you actually relaxed or had a little fun? When was the last time you went a full day without training? He asked, suddenly curious. 4 years or more. I don't really remember anymore. Naruto answered nonchalant. I don't think I've stopped training in some way or another since the first Chunin exam we went through, except to rest or heal myself if I was injured. He added as an afterthought. Kakashi shook his head. Naruto, I know you're not completely human anymore and you feel the need to push yourself, but if you keep that up you will eventually burn out and lose the focus that drives you. I've noticed it the past couple of days, you train in an almost mechanical manner, like a machine programmed to do something. In fact, when you don't have anything else to do, you still train or help make more repairs to the damaged parts of the village. Kakashi frowned behind his mask. What are you running from? Is it the girls? You never used to do this. You used to know how to have fun, even when you trained. I know I was never the best sensei in the past. I will always regret my mistakes with you and Sakura, but I'm here now. Talk to me. What's on your mind that is making you train yourself into the ground like this? Sigh. Perceptive as ever, Kakashi sensei. Naruto thought a bit sourly. Naruto sighed and glanced about. They were in a pretty secluded part of South Suna. It used to be Gaara's old training ground and no one really used it but him, his siblings and those he gave permission to. Naruto motioned for Kakashi to follow him to some shade provided by a couple of palm trees. Naruto sat down on one of the large rocks as he adjusted his 7 tails to keep them out of the bright sun. Kakashi took a seat on another rock sitting a few feet from his former students. Watching as Naruto lazily polished the blades of his swords with a piece of rice cloth produced from his pocket. I have many things on my mind. Granted, I had 4 long years to think about the chaos that is my life, no matter how much I thought. I could never really come up with any actual answers to several of my problems. Naruto began, his voice slipping into a mix of tired and monotone. The Akatsuki was a simple question to answer. I will eliminate them as I come across them. To go hunting for them is nothing short of foolish since I'd likely play into their hands. They aren't stupid. They would have traps set for me. Most of them still think I'm that little naive knucklehead that Itachi and Kisame met 4 years ago. The only problem with taking those bastards out is that no one will let me do it by myself, so I have to worry about my precious people and try to protect them while trying to kill those nut jobs. I may be a Hanyu, but I'm not invincible nor am I perfect. I get scared thinking about what could happen on those missions. The Akatsuki are very powerful. The ones we just fought were some of the weaker members. I just don't want to lose anyone else. I can concentrate on the missions better if I were to go solo or with just you, Shikamaru or Neji maybe. Naruto frowned. Then there's Sasuke, Oto, Kabuto and Orochimaru. I'll never believe that Snake Bastard is dead until I've killed him myself. I have no problems eliminating Oto from the map. They are the enemy, simple as that. But when it comes to Sasuke, I made a promise, an ignorant and foolish one that I now regret, to return him to the village. I know you don't want to hear this, but he's too dangerous to let live. He's let himself be consumed by his thirst for power, so much so that he is now the puppet of those around him. Who knows how far gone his mind is now. The problem is, when I see him next, I plan on terminating him, the council and promise be damned. Killing him will keep Itachi from stealing his eyes and stop the rise of another twisted immortal Uchiha. It will also stop Sasuke from doing the same should he actually be skilled enough to kill Itachi. A part of me still wishes that I could save him, but I'm no longer stupid enough to believe that Sasuke was a real friend. All I ever really was to him was a stepping stone and a sacrifice to gain the Magankyo. We might have had a sliver of friendship once, but that died the day he put a Chidori through my damn chest. Just like the ignorant and eternally happy little buffoon I once was died, or rather grew up. Naruto paused for a moment and took a drink from his water bottle. Kakashi watched Naruto as he listened to the young man. He sighed to himself. He wondered just how much of this could have been avoided had he done things better as their sensei, and hadn't tried spoiling Sasuke because of a debt of honor he thought he owed to a man long since dead. Sarutobi had been right when he said that one was never too old to make mistakes. The trick was to be smart and honorable enough to own up and correct them. Gaara sprung something on me last night. It's made me think long and hard about something, and yet I'm still no closer to an answer. He asked me what my intentions were towards his sister. He also mentioned that they wouldn't wait around forever for me to make a decision, since they didn't have the luxury of our extended lifespan. Naruto said, looking out over the sands. He's right, you know, they won't wait forever. Kakashi sighed. I was in a similar situation once before with my former teammate, Rin Azuki. I cared a lot about her, maybe even loved her. But instead of facing the situation, I continued to train, worked on developing my Chidori and Reikiri and threw myself into my work in Anbu. Then one day, After finally coming to a decision, I had found out that she had been killed in action against some missing ninja from Iowa. Kakashi gave a slight mirthless chuckle. I was miserable. First I lost Obito, then your father, who had been like a father to me, and then Rin. All because I was too afraid to face the situation. In our line of work, sometimes it doesn't matter how long we want to wait to try and figure something out because we might be dead the next day. I think it was after her death that I started reading my books. The stories are good and they offer me an escape from bitter reality. It's not something I'm really proud of, but it's about the only way I can keep my sanity. Naruto, please don't make the same mistake I did. If you really care for them, tell them and then protect them with all your might. Kakashi said, uncharacteristically serious. Naruto looked at his former sensei, really looked at him and considered his words. He saw a man who had lost much and seen more death than most in their lives. He saw a man trying his best to atone for past sins and mistakes, just like how Naruto was trying his best to not make new mistakes in the present. How do you feel about them, Naruto? Think about it. Don't block or bottle up your emotions and really think about it. Just remember, to them, to all of us, you will still be you. Hanyu, demon or human, it doesn't matter to those who count. Kakashi stood up and patted Naruto on the shoulder before walking off. He felt the need for a good stiff drink right now and his friend needed some time to think. Naruto frowned in though as he looked at his own clawed hands, occasionally forcing his claws out and retracting them. How do I feel about them? He wondered silently. Temari is really nice, a bit brash, but I kinda like that about her. She's very beautiful, all of them are in their own way. Temari and Tenten are a lot alike in some ways, both are tomboys but have an odd need for physical interaction, especially with someone they care for. Then there's Yugito and Ino, both of them are natural flirts and very attractive. Hinata is one of the kindest and gentlest girls I have ever met. I know she's been in love with me for a long time too. Truth be told, I really wouldn't mind dating her, the shy bit always was kinda cute. Last but not least is Sakura. She's grown up nicely, works hard and has blossomed splendidly from what she used to be. I will admit that a bit of my old crush is still there, it never really left. But I don't really know how to handle her now. Am I just a replacement for Sasuke, or does she really have feelings for me? What about the others? All of them, except Hinata, either ignored me or disliked me when we were younger. Though Temari did change her tune a bit after I helped Gaara out. Tenten was always nice but never went out of her way to talk to me. Yugito was different, she thought I was the enemy at first but when I helped her and Nibi out she seemed to become attached to me. Flattering in a way, even if I was just trying to help out a fellow Jinchuriki. Ino and Sakura, I was sure they hated my guts. But ever since I returned, they've been really nice to me, they even lost their fangirl bit, thanked Kami. No matter what though, I'd always did consider them friends. I also realized that things change as we grow older, become wiser with experience. But damn it all, I just can't seem to kill my old insecurities. I want to but as ashamed as I am to admit it. I'm afraid, not so much anymore of rejection, but, of losing them, damn. Naruto let out a sigh. It was true, he was afraid of losing them. He would rather they be alive and either hate or fear him than be dead for any reason. He wasn't so foolish to think that he was some sort of Superman. Not like he had when he was younger, he knew he couldn't save everyone, he'd just be damned if he didn't at least try to. But 4 years of intense training and learning and coming to terms with how harsh reality was had changed him. He honestly expected to spend the rest of his life alone. He had even thought that he didn't deserve such feelings from anyone, he was a demon after all, who could ever love a monster? Jiraiya had done his best to beat that notion out of him but it still lingered and haunted him, just as his past and his nightmares did. Even now he could see the horrors of his past as clear as crystal, not the sugar-coated version he gave everyone, but the true terrors he had lived past, the horrors that had left scars on his soul. Kakashi's words filter back through his mind, calming the horrible visions flooding through it. Kakashi had asked him to not make the same mistake he once did, and to protect them. Coupled with his demonic and alpha instincts, he quickly found that he was more protective of the girls than he thought he would be. Logically thinking, Each of them would make excellent mates, and he did have a clan to rebuild. He was more than strong enough now to protect them, and when he gained his final tail, nothing short of Shinigami could stand against him. I know I haven't really been fair to them, especially Hinata, Tamari and Yugito, since none of them have ever done anything to me to personally warrant my distrust or unease. But I've been doing this for so damn long now. I just don't know what to do about them, any of them. I don't want to hurt them, but I can't just sit back and let them be sad either, not when I'm the cause. Naruto thought solemnly. The truth of the matter was, no matter how much his mind might try to convince him otherwise, he cared very much for them, some more so than others. 4 years of intense training, self-reflection and searching for purpose had opened his eyes to many things. There were times he wanted to kick himself for not realizing how Hinata had felt for him. All that time he spent alone could have been with someone who cared. It all boiled down to one simple truth. He, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, was scared. The mighty Kitsune Hanyu, Neo Kyuubi and most unpredictable shinobi was actually afraid. Not for himself, but for the girls. He was terrified he'd get closer to one or all of them only to have one of them ripped away from him. He wasn't invincible, he knew that. He was definitely stronger than most Kage and the majority of the Akatsuki and would continue to grow stronger, but even a god can screw up. He wasn't so foolish as to think he could save everyone anymore. In the real shinobi world, childish notions like that often got one killed. But what if he wasn't fast enough to protect one of them? Naruto sighed. Damn the what ifs. I'm getting sick of dwelling on it. This isn't me. I'm not a brooder unless the situation clearly calls for that kind of deep thought. The problem is, I'm fucking thinking way too damn much. Kakashi was right. I was damn near ready to think myself out of a golden opportunity. I may not be perfect. I have a foul mouth, explosive temper when pressed, I tend to be cocky, and I got a demented little fur ball sealed in me until I assimilate its last tail. I've got the power now, damn it. I'm smarter now, but I need to stop trying to use logic for everything. I care for those girls, and if I'm really what they want, then by fucking Kami that's what they'll get. Naruto's eyes shifted to crimson as a bit of killing intent leaked from him. And may the gods have mercy on anyone who harms them, because I will not. He added in a demonic tone and sheathed his katanas. Guess I'll just take things as they come and go with the flow, that's always suited me better anyways. Maybe I'll go pick up some lunch before heading back to Gaara's compound. Naruto mused, feeling much lighter as he ruthlessly squashed the negative thoughts he had earlier and walked off. Kakashi smiled behind his mask as he watched from a safe distance. Good for you, Naruto. I knew you'd choose the correct path once you thought on it. Hey, you had me a little afraid there for a minute though. Good to see some things about you will never change. Kakashi thought and shunshined out of the training ground. There was a rare Ica on sale at the bookstore, and it had his name on it. Naruto dashed and hopped along the rooftops at high speed, enjoying how his unnaturally tanned skin seemed to ward off sunburns. In truth, it was his healing factor that made him immune to the unpleasant effect. As he neared one of the more torn-up parts of Suna, he halted in his movements. The sound of children playing caught his ears, making them twitch slightly towards their direction. He frowned slightly. The ruins in this area were quite unstable. It was no place for kids to be playing. A chakra signature also alerted him to another familiar presence. Hinata. Curious, he hunched down and perched on the rooftop to check what was going on. 2 little boys were playing ninja around a tipsy-looking wall as Hinata quickly ran up and began shooing them off and warning them of the danger. The kids soon ran off laughing, and Hinata appeared to sigh in relief. Unfortunately, a strong gust of wind came up, as was common in wind country, and the wall began to tip over. Hinata realized as the wall was quickly falling down on her. A sudden surge of panic filled her and froze her on the spot. Naruto let out a curse, seeing her freeze up and vanished in a yellow flash of light, only to reappear in another flash next to Hinata and catch the surprisingly heavy stone wall. He grunted slightly from the effort but held it aloft. Naruto-kun. Hinata gasped as her favorite blonde hero, Crush, appeared next to her and caught the wall that was about to crush her with ease. Hey, Hinata-chan, I know you don't really mind being a wallflower, but I think this is a bit much, so. Naruto grunted again and hurled the massive slab of stone. Hinata watched a bit gobsmacked as the huge stone wall sailed over the Suna perimeter wall and landed somewhere harmlessly out in the desert sands. She blushed a bit at the light wise crack Naruto made before tossing the offending object. You okay, Hinata-chan? He asked in his usual kind tone, and she could see his genuine concern for her in his eyes. She damn near melted on the spot. It amazed her at how frighteningly strong he could be, yet how truly gentle he was when needed. The fact that he had added the chan suffix to her name wasn't lost on her either, and it made her blush all the brighter as she poked her fingers together, silently cursing her shyness and for the fact Naruto had to save her when she should have been able to save herself. I'm fine, Naruto-kun. She stuttered out shyly. Naruto frowned in concern. He could tell that something was bothering her. You're a terrible liar, you know. Naruto chuckled mildly. Come on now, I'm your friend, you can tell me what's bothering you. A burden shared is a burden lessened. Hinata fidgeted a bit more and continued to twiddle her fingers in her usual cute manner. She was blushing deeper now, and for the life of her she just couldn't speak. It upset her greatly. She'd worked so hard on her confidence, and now when she needed it, it left her hanging. Tears began to prick at her soft lavender eyes. Why couldn't she just say what she felt for once in her damn life? I see, from what I can tell, she's upset that I had to save her again, if not slightly ashamed. If memory serves, she has always wanted to become stronger and is always trying to, in hopes of becoming worthy in my eyes. And now, she wants to tell me how she feels, but is too afraid to say anything. Hey, sometimes gaining this level of perception is a pain in the ass, but this time it could actually help. Maybe it's time I took a step. I've always thought she was worthy, definitely better than I deserve. Perhaps it's time she gets what she's wanted for so long. Naruto thought. Hinata let out a slight gasp and squeak as Naruto came closer to her and wrapped his arms around her. She stiffened for but a second before laying her head on his bare chest. Tears began to leak from her eyes, but this time they were of happiness. Hinata-chan, I've known for a few years now, about how you feel about me. Naruto said softly. I'm sorry, it took me so long to see it. As you know, my life has been pretty rotten for the most part. Somewhere along the way, I just settled myself to the fact that I'd always be alone, first because I am a Jinchuriki, then because I'm a Hanyu, and in the future because I would become a full demon. He sighed slightly and Hinata remained quiet as she sadly listened to his words. I had always thought, who could ever love a demon, a monster? I know it was foolish, but given my life, I think it was an honest and believable deduction. That is why I trained so hard during my time with Ero Sennin. I knew that I would never be accepted or respected. To be honest, it doesn't really matter to me anymore what the ignorant masses think. I have my duties, and as far as I'm concerned, they can either accept me or piss off. I trained myself to become a living weapon, not just to protect the village. No, that was never the real reason. I wanted to protect the few precious people I have, the village be damned. I honestly thought that when I came back and all of you eventually learned my secret, you'd all turn against me. After all, it wouldn't be the first time in my life it's happened. Most everyone I've ever known has turned against me in one way or another. But to my surprise, not just one, but all of you, especially you and the other ladies, accepted me and still want my affection. Hey, to be honest, that scared the hell out of me for a while. I was terrified to let any of you close, scared that I might lose one or all of you for some reason or another. But I finally thought about it, long and hard, and decided that I can't live my life based on what ifs. I'm much stronger now and I hope smarter. Naruto explained. Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, looking up at him in slight confusion, not sure where this was going but really hoping. Naruto looked down at her and gave her his usual kind smile. I'm not sure if what I feel for you and the others is love. I've never really experienced that emotion, nor do I have anything to go by due to my childhood. But I know I care for each of you, very much, enough that I would sacrifice everything that I am to ensure your own lives and happiness. And to be honest, I don't want to be alone anymore. So, if I am truly what you want, I'd be honored to be with you, be it as friends, or lovers. He answered her unspoken question. Naruto was a bit shocked when Hinata let out a mixed happy noise, something between a sob and a cry of joy. He was even further shocked when she lunged up, kissed him, not one of those innocent and chaste first kisses either. Quickly regaining his composure, he did what any respectful male would do, he reciprocated the affection. Thank you, Naruto-kun. I'm so happy. I've wanted this for so long, just to be with you. Hinata said softly. Naruto gave her a slight squeeze. I know, Hinata-chan. I'm sorry you had to wait so long. I'm still not sure what I'm supposed to do or how I was so lucky to just get someone like you to care for me. It's kinda strange and I'll need some time to get used to the idea, but I'm glad you're happy, to me that's all that really matters. He replied absently as he ran his hands through her silky midnight blue hair. Hinata practically purred as he did this. In this one moment, it felt as if all her dreams had finally come true. Naruto didn't reject her, he welcomed her. She didn't know just what changed his mind, but she was glad it had, for whatever reason it might have happened. She knew of his secret, she'd known for a long time that there was something special about him. It didn't matter to her if he was human, Hanyu or demon, she would love and cherish him all the same, he was after all, her own source of strength. Naruto was once again lost to his thoughts as he held the smaller young woman in his arms. She felt both strong and frail at the same time. He silently savored the unfamiliar but pleasant feeling of holding someone you care for, a feeling that had been denied him for so long and now, he had it. I was a damn fool for nearly passing this up, all because of my own insecurities. In a way I still don't feel I deserve her, or the others. But as Kami is my witness, this I swear. I will protect them with all my power for as long as they will have me. As long as she will have me. They will never want for anything and I will treat them as equals. No one or thing will ever harm them in my presence, and should they come to harm when I'm not around, I will hunt down and destroy the one who harmed them, even if I have to rip elemental earth apart with my bare claws. This is my pledge, my vow and my promise to you ladies. The ones who saw the person, and not the demon. Naruto vowed silently. Naruto let out a light chuckle. Well, this isn't exactly how I figured this sort of thing would happen, but it works. Hinata giggled a bit. Yes, it does. She agreed, and then a very sly smile crossed her features. A smile that would have looked more in place on Ino. You know, Naruto-kun, the others will want their fair share now. She added without a stutter. Naruto blanched slightly. Oh, Kami, they're gonna eat me alive. He groaned while ignoring his tenants cackling at his discomfort. Don't worry, I'll protect you, for a little while at least. Hinata giggled. Naruto's sweat dropped. Thanks, he said dryly. Oh well, at least you're not stuttering anymore. Your voice is much more beautiful when you don, MMPH. Hinata silenced him by once again trying to extract his tonsils with her tongue. Damn if the girl couldn't kiss. Ruefully he realized that the old saying about how it was always the quiet ones was painfully true. It never crossed his mind that 5+ years of bottled up desires, repressed hormones and secret admiration could make even a nun a bit randy. Far above them, perched on a water tower, Yugito Ni watched with a grin. She couldn't have planned this better herself. Now that the Hyuga girl had Naruto's attention, it wouldn't take much for her and the other girls to get it either. And with Hinata's help, she was certain that things would flow smoothly. It would just take a bit of time and patience and maybe a few set-up situations. Konoha. Jiraiya suddenly sat upright from his position in the tree overlooking the hot springs. My pervert senses are tingling. Something interesting is happening somewhere and I'm not there to witness it. I'll bet it's the brat. He's got all those young nubile ladies with him. Jiraiya let out a perverted giggle as he wiped off a bit of drool. I hope the kid hurries back so I can see what's going on. If I'm right, he'll be a gold mine of research material. Suna. Naruto let out a slight shiver. What's wrong, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked as they walked from a takoyaki stand. Both had a small box of the octopus puffs and were munching on them. Oh, nothing, just got an uncomfortable feeling is all. I think someone was talking about me again. Naruto shrugged. Why don't we relax the rest of the day? I planned on leaving tomorrow morning so we could be back in Konoha by nightfall. He added. Hinata nodded. Do we, let the others know about us? I'd like to tell my father, she said a bit nervously. That's up to you, Hinata-chan. I don't see any problem with letting the other girls know since it seems I really don't have a choice in how many of you I'm going to date. Naruto chuckled. Quote. I suppose there are worse fates. Not sure how your dad's going to take it though. If he doesn't like it, then it's his problem, now that I got you. I'm not going to just let you go because of someone else's opinions. Hinata flushed. I don't think father will have any problems. He has been one of your supporters for quite a few years now. I think it happened when you changed Neji at the Chunin exams. It wasn't that I was trying to change him so much as I was trying to get him to get out of his fate complex and help himself. I'm glad I was able to help him though. If there's one thing I've learned in my life is that things like fate and destiny do happen, but it's up to you to change it. Nothing is truly set in stone. I'm kind of living proof of that. I was born to become a living sacrifice, and for a long time, I really thought I'd end up being alone the rest of my life. When I was a kid, it was so hard. I spent so many years not knowing or understanding why I was hated so much. To be honest, I used to cry myself to sleep most nights until I finally got tired of it. Crying never helped. I guess you could call it stubborn nature. I decided if fate was going to bite me in the ass, then I was gonna bite back harder, simple as that. Then on my training trip, I was forced to look deeper. I had to make a choice to either remain a child or to grow up and accept that some things wouldn't change. So I grew up and decided that even if some things never changed, I wouldn't let it get in the way of my purpose or duty. Naruto explained. Hinata felt another wave of admiration flow through her, and then a question she'd been pondering for a while presented itself. Naruto-kun, how or why did you choose to become a Hanyu? I've been wondering for a while now. She asked. Naruto shrugged. I pretty much told you guys that a while back. Truth is though, it would have happened no matter what due to the way the seal was. I just decided to make it happen sooner since time wasn't exactly a luxury we have in our lifestyles. I wasn't dumb enough to think that the Akatsuki or Sasuke would just wait around until the seal did its job slowly, so Ero Sennin and I decided it would be better sooner than later. That in assimilating the Fox Tem's powers and chakra would ruin Akatsuki's plans, since extracting a Biju from a Hanyu is impossible, and since I started off human instead of a demon I gain a few perks. Even once I become a full demon I will still have traces of human in me, just enough to mess up any demonic containment jutsu they have. It also gives me an edge over the Sharingan since it can nullify demonic chakra. No matter what, I will always have my human chakra stores, so I guess you could call the whole thing planning ahead. I knew what I was sacrificing, but it was better than the alternatives. I agree, Hinata said, snuggling into him. I don't know what I would have done, if their plans would have come through and I lost you. She whispered. Naruto sighed. You're a strong woman, Hinata-chan. It would have hurt for a while, but I know you would have had the strength to go on with your life. Besides, that's pointless speculation now. Akatsuki is powerful, but so am I, and I promise you, I will always be here for you, so don't worry about things that won't happen anymore. He said, giving her a comforting squeeze. She gave him a small smile but couldn't help but worry in her mind. It was true that he was powerful, damn near godlike to be honest, but even a god can fall. That was why she vowed silently to do her best to protect him. She may not be as powerful as he is or have the advantage of being a Hanyu, but she wouldn't let that stop her, not when she'd finally gotten him. Besides, she was sure she'd have help in the form of her female friends, and together they all could protect him just as he protects them. Deep within the realm of the summons, a large elderly and wizened-looking toad sat upon his rocky throne. He was known as Gamasenin. Next to him was the toad summon boss, Gamabunta. The ancient sage opened his eyes. It has begun, Gamasenin said softly. Gamabunta looked at him and exhaled smoke from his nostrils. So, the brat's finally coming around then? He asked. Gamasenin nodded as he stroked his long beard. Indeed, my boy, the sacred element is stirring within him and awakening ever so slowly. The ladies in him life, 6 of them to be precise, are the keys. His heart is the lock. Once fully opened, the radiance of the sacred element, love, will shine forth and give birth to a new guardian. But unlike the previous guardians, this one will be both demonic and divine, a light beyond greatest brilliance, darkness beyond blackest pitch, joined together to form a shadow beyond the dawn and dusk. It will just be a matter of time now and left up to him. Naruto, will you embrace your true destiny or will you deny yourself? Gamasenin said cryptically. I have faith in the kid, he's a lot like his father and his mother. If there's anyone out there that can accomplish this miracle you speak of, it's Naruto Namikaze. Gamabunta assured the elder sage. For all our sakes, I hope you are correct, my child. Even now, the evils conspire against him and will do all in their power to keep him from obtaining his true full potential. It is not written in stone and even I cannot know what the future will hold, but so long as the sacred element is within him and stirring, there is hope. Gamasenin stated. Gamabunta frowned. What do you see, old one, what else haven't you told me? He asked. A great evil is also stirring, feeding off of the excess taint in the mortal realm. Its power once sealed by the 9 guardians. The seal has grown weak due to the loss of the guardians when they became the tailed ones. For now, the tainted one still sleeps, but that could change. I do not know if it will awaken or not, but the only one who could stand against it is our young friend. Gamasenin said. You don't mean. Gamabunta trailed off. The elder nodded. Yes, my child, the Lord of Anarchy and Chaos. Cain the Destroyer. Should Cain awaken and break from the seal, only young Naruto Namikaze with his unique divine and demonic power could ever hope to defeat Cain. But that's impossible, elder sage. Gamabunta yelled. Cain is unbeatable. It took all 9 of the Biju to seal Cain away in the abyss. If Naruto was to fight him, even with his unique power, it would destroy both. Naruto would burn through his own soul, destroying that bastard. Perhaps. Gamasenin trailed off as he closed his eyes. But in the end, sometimes sacrifices must be made for the better of all. Naruto understands this and he will know what to do should the situation ever arise. But as I have said, nothing is written in stone. The elder sage fell into a deep sleep trance. Gamabunta shook his head. Kid, I really hope if you ever face Cain, you can once again cheat the fates and make the impossible, possible. If not, I will have lost yet another worthy summoner and friend.